Picking up at the 8th spot in the Cannons lineup, Jaden Walton. The right fielder who watched the Holstein domination going both ways in center field will make his way up to the plate now. Cartersville again has continued to be spotless from the mound all the way to the back fence of the Reinhardt Eagles. And Hardin once again will try to start an inning on the right foot here in the top of the 4th. Ball 1, however, will be the mountain that he's been trying to climb. Will catch the corner of the zone, though, for strike 1. Taking a look at that Cartersville lineup very briefly, again, as you can see, we are towards the bottom with Walton, as that one will find its way to be ball 2. There are not 9 hitters for the Cannons as well. Again, not sure why some of the overlays and the internet and whatnot are bugging, but we're going to keep rolling through it together. So we've got a wonderful day of baseball ahead of us. That right there should fix the remaining part of the lineup now, as you'll see. Now, you can see where we are in the count. Walton as the 8-hitter, with Bullinger and Parker coming up next. Hardin's pitch. High will be ball number 2. Or sorry, ball number 3, as Hardin will try to battle out of another full count. Cannons looking. That's another first look at the plate for the first hitter. That will be a first base for free for Cartersville.
Cartersville, first baseman, Cameron Bullinger.
Cameron Bullinger will make his way up now. Apologies for not having the first name earlier. That's the sophomore from right here at Reinhardt University, representing Etowah High School, standing at 6'3", and is the only Reinhardt player on the field right now. How nice is it to come to the field that you just spent a whole season on? Bullinger comfortable, but not comfortable enough, as Hardin will catch the early lead in the count. One thing we haven't talked about is the amount of speed and base running capability of this Cannons roster. It is absolutely there, and as you can tell, Walton is eager to slip behind the back of Hardin. Hardin once again gets worried about that runner and will throw that one bouncing into the chest of Mike Fallon. Great stop, though, once again from Fallon, who has taken a lot of the catching duties over after Ozzie Patterson has now moved to the extra hitter spot in the lineup for Gainesville. Those bright red and yellow jerseys still trying to fight back after this 3-0 deficit. You've allowed a run an inning, and the bleeding's got to stop at some point. Stealing runner throw for Mike Fallon will be over the head. Or at least so you thought. What a jumping grab. How about that? The vertical from Jason Williams, fresh out of high school. We'll catch that one and keep it in play. And even though that was a wonderful catch, runner will still advance after the throw is too high. Once again, look at the lead from Jaden Walton. Still eager as ever to get out of second base. And you would think for sure that Hardin is still so worried about it. And it seems to be the case as the count moves to 3-1 now. Bullinger very much alive and well in the count. And again, returning to the potential third iteration of the Reinhardt lineup in only 3 innings, if they can get through Bullinger and Parker here. Next pitch, Bullinger's way will be low, but again, great stop from Fallon, but at what cost when it's ball 4 regardless, and that will be runners at first and second, and once again, a hole that the Diggers have dug themselves in is what's Hardin's got to try and find his way out of. Well, regardless of funny attempts at puns or not, my name is TJ Stevens. It's a pleasure to welcome you to some Sunbelt Baseball League action. Little lull here in the meantime, as Hardin will take a sweet time getting on to this one. Potential bunt down the left side will catch Hardin slipping. He'll have to try and get that one quick, zipped over, but it will be safe. And a bunt down the line for Daniel Parker is absolutely mission critical where it had to be. Bases loaded
Cartersville left fielder, Michael Zito.
And just like that, we return to the top of the count. Michael Zito up to the plate now, and this situation is a little different than the first inning bases loaded. Still looking to record that first out. And a lot of room to go to work if you're Michael Zito. Harden, first pitch of the count. Will be high. You wonder in a 7-inning doubleheader, when will Gainesville's coaching staff potentially have to dig into the bullpen? Cannons are in a tough spot after having to use 7 pitchers on the 10th in their absolute shootout against the Aviators. Again, that was a 17-16 game in Gainesville. Didn't have to worry about that, but temporary talk from Mike Fallon to try and get teammate Taver Harden back on page. Back on track. And we'll see what follows after the very short timeout. Oh, hesitation. One more. There we go. Pitcher and catcher trying to get it realigned here with bases loaded in a nightmare scenario, 0 outs. It would take a little bit of pitching genius and maybe even catcher and pitcher genius to find the way out of this situation here. Still looking to record the first out. Even when the Cannons have been in the situation, they found a sac fly to get runners in. And it seemed like that the meeting called by Mike Fallon will actually work out. That will be strike one, the first strike of the count for Taver Harden. One pitch at a time, trying to find his way back. Next one will go inside. We'll skip off the bat and behind the plate. And just like that, we're back to 2-2. Reminder from the umpire, 2-2. We'll get right back on here. Harden trying to survive the 4th inning here. That one close, but not close enough. Full count now, and once again, it's a tale as old as time here on June 13th. As Taver Harden will have another full count with multiple runners on base to try and slide his way out of. What will be the look from Taver Harden? That one, low, and will be ball 4. And a runner will find their way in. It will be the 4th run in 4 innings for the Cannons. And it will be a timeout called by the coaching staff of Gainesville. And we'll see what is the call here. Had a little bit of chatter up here in the booth among some of our lovely staff members. And we do believe that Gainesville will probably look to keep Harden in for this inning. Harden absolutely has the ability to do so, but Gainesville don't want to bleed too much. A run an inning is never a good sign, but at least it's a 7-inning game and not a 9-inning game. So by that metric, a little bit more of a chance to get back into it, but still got to get those bats up and running against a very formidable Caleb Hughes, who has been absolutely untouchable up there. Timeout. Will try to recompose Harden once again after a tough full count to lose there. So right back on track. See what catcher Mike Fallon had to say. And it will be Colin Yuleson right back up to the plate after finding some great pokes in the outfield defense in his last at bat. Looking an inning later, really an inning and a half later, and you're already back up. Another huge chunk out of that one. Is it going to, once again, bounce in front of the center fielder? And it will. Mind games were attempted, but to no avail. Run number 5 and another wonderful hitting performance from Colin Yuleson. Bases will remain loaded. Out count will remain nil. And it will call on Aiden Larkin. We'll go lefty to righty here. Taver Harden will have a little bit more trouble replacing to the outside of the zone after it'll flip on him just like that. Pitch will be low at that note to kick off ball 1. Also, if you're looking for a more obvious stat to track at home, it is the first time we've seen multiple runs scored in an inning. It's also a doubleheader, so this type of momentum is only exponential for Cartersville. Not to mention how star-studded this lineup has played so far, and all of your big hitters, and even really the bottom of the lineup as well, has contributed in no other fashion I can explain other than exactly what you'd wish for when you woke up this morning on what is once again a beautiful day out here at Reinhardt University, home of the Eagles. A lot of fly balls have made its way out into the den, or into the nest, I guess I should say. And for Cartersville, they've all returned home. Count moves to 0-3. Still 0 outs. As Taver Harden again is grasping at straws. Trying to get into this one here. Trying to fight back from the 0-3 count. Pitch delivers and will end up being called ball 4. That'll be run number 6 for Cartersville, and bases will once again remain loaded.
Now batting catcher, Evan Holstein.
Brings us to the 4 spot in the lineup. Evan Holstein will make his way up. Holstein, once again, the junior, represents Kennesaw State University. Also, as of this past spring season, returned from injury and recorded a hit against West Virginia. Yes, I'm talking about the West Virginia. That made its way through the Super Regionals and what is a action-packed weekend for sports. If you have this stream turned on, I hope you own multiple TVs. There's a lot to catch. Obviously, last night, the U.S. men's national team started off their World Cup journey with a wonderful game. And speaking of wonderful, Cartersville, another bloop right in front of an outfielder. And that might just bring in 2. It will do exactly that. Brings the tally to 8-0.
Now batting for the Cannons, the third baseman, Jackson Stanley.
Well, blinking, you might have missed it. 5 runs just like that in the top of the 4th. And Cartersville seemingly can't be stopped no matter what you wish on. Another called meeting will call for Taver Harden to come out. I will end Taver Harden's stay at the mound, and we'll get word on who the pitcher is substituting in. Number 28. That will be, if you'll give me a quick second here. I'm actually not sure who's listed as number 28. So we'll get that information to you very shortly. We'll go to a very short break up here in the booth. When we come back, Gainesville will try to stop the bleeding that has now turned into more of a hemorrhage. We'll get back in just a second. William Curcio will find his way up to bat here in the dead center of the Cartersville lineup in what has been a inning from hell. 5 straight runs on 0 outs, and it required a pitching change for Gainesville. However, the only bad news that I do have for the general SBL fan is that we are not sure who that pitcher is, number 28. Not listed on the lineup sheet for any of us, so hopefully we'll get information on who that is trying to dig Gainesville out of the hole in just a second. But in the meantime, mystery pitcher, sunglasses and all, will find his way into a 1-0 count. Next pitch over the top and will be struck out to left field, but not before turning foul. Count moves to 1-1. Curcio, representing Woodstock, Georgia, went to Etowah High School, like a few of his fellow teammates, including Cameron Bullinger, who's not too much further down the lineup, which at this rate we may get there. We'll watch that one go low, and that will be ball 2. Hat falls off of our mystery pitcher, but right back on and right back down the line. He'll try to focus. Runners stranded at first and third, but again, no outs. They have no reason to make any rash movements. Little floater over to first. We'll keep him honest at least, though. Once again, looking to try and figure out who our mystery pitcher is. Trying to earn his keep here in the top of the 4th. Pitch delivers. Absolutely ripped between the the left and center fielders, and will find the fence. Fielded by the center fielder, will be returned in. Rally back home will be left. Will the tag come in time? Yes, it will. So the rally in from Devin Kendall to Anthony Almaroth to Michael Fallon will result in a play at home after the feet first slide on the turf. Might have just given Fallon an opportunity to make the tag, but you'll take 9-0 still and only 1 out if you are Cartersville. And you still have a runner in play sitting at second. Looking to get over 10 and to potentially try and mercy roll this first game. That's what's at stake here for Cartersville, trying to get a move on with the doubleheader. That one is absolutely crushed out towards center and right field, but it will be tracked by the route fielder. Will there be a tag-up attempt? No, there will not be. So out number 2, and I believe Cartersville could have gotten a runner over to third, but got a little too ahead of himself, wasn't ready on the base, so had to return. As now we'll bring up number 22, that is Tyler McDevitt here in the 7th spot, the extra hitter, coming up to bat for the 3rd time this game. 4th time, excuse me. Mystery pitcher, though, has done a great job at least keeping the ball in play enough, but it's gotten pretty dangerous. I mean, we're talking about 2 balls that just made their way out towards the fence almost. First one did touch the fence after bouncing. Second one basically got out there to what is a much shorter right field as well. A very dangerous side, and also the road. Very active road right behind the field as well. Looking to put a dent in a brand new car if you're Cartersville. Big breaking ball will drop, but will start too high, so count will go to 1-1. Follow-up pitch for our mystery man on the mound is smacked, but will be out of the field of play. Will be foul for strike number 2. Mystery pitcher, again, keeping it in play, trusting the defense. That strategy has worked out thus far. Cartersville hasn't taken full advantage of some of these hitting opportunities. That one comes flying our way. We'll still keep the count at 1-2. Not much of a silver lining in the inning here, but if we could see our mystery man get out of this inning through 3 batters pretty much, you would absolutely take it, even though one did get it in play. Follow up will be low for 2-2. Twos across the board. Looking again to get out of this nightmare inning and get to the bottom of the 4th, whereas Gainesville are still waiting to try and get their bats moving. You're giving Caleb Hughes a long time to rest as well. That one cracked, but too late. Will be foul immediately. Still fighting for Tyler McDevitt. Looking for one last pitch for our mystery man. Will be a brief timeout called by, I believe, the batter. Pitcher seems to have the batter right where he wants him. Again, looking. One more pitch to get out of the inning alive for the new pitcher, but for Gainesville to leave a lot of work left to do, and you'll take the strikeout for a little bit of a momentum boost, but it's going to take that and then some for Gainesville as they look to return to battle with a much steeper hill to climb in the bottom of the 4th. Jason Williams will try and pick up the Gol'Diggers campaign here in the bottom of the 4th, and Caleb Hughes has taken a step away to spare the Gainesville side, and it will be Kason Cannon representing Columbus State University, standing at 6'2" from Pickens County. Multi-sport athlete, not only played in baseball, but played golf and wrestled, excuse me. The righty will look to get real comfortable with a 9-run lead here in the bottom of the 4th. We'll, however, watch ball 1 go by as a quick refresher. Now that our lineups are actually working, I can show you where we are in the Gainesville lineup. And as you can see, with Jason Williams up, we're at the very top. Minor changes in the lineup as well. Players like Jock Walker have dropped down. Ozzie Patterson moves off of center to the extra hitter position. Mike Fallon comes in to fill that. Mason Archie, ever since the very first game, has jumped all the way up to a 3 or 4 hitter. And that's where things stand for Gainesville in the lineup. Count moves to 3-0. Next pitch for the new pitcher. That one outside as well, and it will put a runner on first. And this right here, this is where Gainesville tends to shine, is opportunities like this, where they can actually get their runners on base. They are easily one of the quickest teams in the SPL. And out of all the players that you want on base, Mason Archie, one of the quickest on this team alone. Designated hitter, Mason Archie, has had a few stays out in the outfield as well this season, putting that speed to work. We'll watch this first pitch come in over the head and will get Jason Williams moving, but very quickly will return and wasn't exactly ready on the jump there. And after 5 straight balls, it will be a quick meeting at the mound, and Cartersville absolutely wanting to leave no room for error and no room for Gainesville to even think they can get a comeback going. And in a league like this, with the talent that Gainesville has, that is absolutely something to be concerned about. Very quick meeting at the mound will keep things moving in the right direction. That'll be Cameron Bullinger, who got to go up there as the catcher and give a quick meeting, and it will be the first strike of any count this inning for the new pitcher. That'll be the cost of it. See what's next here. Will be a stealing runner. That one hosed over to second base, but not in time. And it will be a stolen base for Jason Williams. That right there is exactly what I'm talking about. This is where Gainesville's strengths lie, is in that speed. Follow-up pitch will be knocked away and out for foul ball. Number 2 will be strike number 2 regardless. I also do want to clarify earlier that I talked about the center fielder on the Cartersville side making so many impressive runs. That right there was actually Colin Yuleson who made those runs, not Evan Holstein. So excuse me, as Holstein was listed as the catcher. So very much not a center fielder. Next pitch from Cannon. On the Cannons will be Mason Archie, striking it right in front of that right fielder, and will keep Jason Williams moving down the base paths. Will also bring runners to first and third with no outs. And again, of all the players that you want on the base paths, you now have 2 of some of the fastest players on the fastest team in the league. I would almost guarantee that Mason Archie looks to steal within the first few pitches here, but Gainesville has this new pitcher exactly where he'd want him, sitting at the 4 spot in the lineup with Noah Darden, who was a Gainesville Gold-Digger last year. Looking to put the crest on his shoulders, metaphorically and literally with the jersey. We'll watch ball 1 go through. Next pitch delivered is a bouncer down to shortstop. Runner looking to get home, but again, that Gainesville speed will not only get the runner home, but even the throw to first is not there in time. And Gainesville will finally make a statement in this game. And of all of the success and power on this roster, Ozzie Patterson has had a pretty great season for Gainesville thus far, and there's a reason why he's in the extra hitter spot, not in the catcher spot, but also in the 5-hole in the lineup. With 2 runners on base, again, this is exactly where you want to be. Breaking ball is off the back, and just like that, base is loaded, no outs.
Now batting the center fielder, Devin Kendall.
Center fielder, Devin Kendall will now come up to the plate, and you'll have to forgive us here in the booth as there is not a lot of information that we have on Devin Kendall. Other than I can tell you that he's had a pretty decent showing thus far. For the Gol'Diggers was the most recent roster addition. There's been a lot of new players that have been added to this roster. It's the glory of action here in the SBL is that obviously we do what we can, but also we're here to make sure as many players get their chance to shine. And Devin Kendall, absolutely one who will look to take advantage of a golden opportunity, but not before we get done with this quick meeting at the mound. Once again, that's Evan Holstein trying to knock a little bit of sense into quite literal Cartersville Cannon, Casey Cannon. K-Sun Cannon, excuse me. Actually, I take that back. It is a pitching change for the Cannons. That will be number 39, it does seem. Could be 39 or 36. Give us a quick second in the booth to figure that out. We'll come right back to you once we figure this pitcher out.
Cartersville, number 39, Aaron Smith.
Well, I take that back. Actually, it is number 39. That is Aaron Smith. Another player who seems to be a more recent addition for this Cartersville roster. So unfortunately, it's another mystery pitcher, but at least we have a name this time around.
The center fielder, Devin Kendall.
Picking it right back up in the 6th spot for the Gainesville lineup, that is Devin Kendall. And here we go as we return to action here at Reinhardt. Still looking for the first out of the inning if you're Cartersville. Ball 1 will be how we start. Third pitcher comes into the game now after 3 beautiful innings from Caleb Hughes. Excuse me. Casey Cannon unfortunately couldn't make a mainstay run in this game, so we'll have to step away and let Aaron Smith try and dig his team out of the hole here. And Gainesville originally, after allowing 9 runs in the span of 4 innings, it's very, very possible to make the argument that you thought they were out of this game, but Gainesville, all of a sudden, as we watch that actually be called a strike instead of a check swing, Gainesville are only 1 swing away from getting up to 5-9, and then we're going from there. Still a long way to go to get to 9, but very possible another check swing will be called a ball this time around. You got to respect Evan Holstein for keeping that first base umpire just a little honest, trying to make sure that Kendall doesn't get any unnecessary advantage in the count here, but 2-2. Things are still in control for Aaron Smith. Follow-up pitch on 2-2 count. Breaking ball inside. Catches the zone for strike 3. And just like that, you bring in a new pitcher. First batter goes 2-2 with a watching strikeout.
Third baseman, Dawson Vaughn.
brings up Dawson Vaughn to the plate once again. 6'2", rising sophomore representing Sneed State. We'll watch that ball one go outside and low. After that first inning error from Dawson Vaughn off of a bouncing ball in the infield, he's been pretty consistent in the lineup. Had a few good fielding plays with the rest of his infield. And will also strike that over the shortstop's head. We'll look to bring in two. Rounding the bases will have to be a hold for number 3, Noah Darden. But you'll take the RBI, you'll keep the bases loaded, and you'll get your team their second run.
Now batting the catcher, Mike Fallon.
Just like that, we'll bring Mike Fallon up to the plate now. Fallon got to base last time after being hit. It was Caleb Hughes' really only low light in those 3 innings. It also was another chance that Gainesville had runners on base that they couldn't get around, but now there's no excuses. 1 out. Mike Fallon, big chunk out of that one. It will be soared to right field, caught in the sunlight. Runner will tag up, and it will be Jason Williams. Or sorry, that'll be number 3, Noah Darden, making his way in. We'll keep the runners moving as they are now stranded at first and third, but now a third run.
Now batting first baseman, Landon Barr.
Now we get to the 9th spot out of the 10 spots in this Gainesville lineup. That brings us to Landon Barr. First pitch to Barr, breaking ball inside, turned away for ball 1. Still only 1 out. You got your first batter if you're at pitcher Aaron Smith, but the righty has struggled since, allowing 2 to be put in play. Trying to change that. Will get a runner moving to second. That's great heads-up play. And it will also be a 2-0 count. That's Mike Fallon getting a giddy up towards second base. However, next pitch will catch him swinging. Will at least give Smith an opening. Next pitch delivered. Another outside ball caught swinging. Again, at the bottom of the Gainesville lineup, if there was any spot to lose a little bit of momentum, this unfortunately could be it for them, but you still have 2 outs to work with. That one struck and is off the leg of Landon Barr, but seems to be A-okay. Here we go again. Very familiar place we've been in the entire game. Full count. Pitch delivered. Breaking ball. Too high. And that will actually be ball 3 now. Excuse me. Now we sit at full count. Very familiar spot of this game. And it's the first full count for pitcher Aaron Smith. You look for moments to prove to your team that you can fight. This is going to be one of them. However, you catch... Wait. I'm actually not sure what the call was here. I thought it hit the batter.
He got hit intentionally. He leaned into it.
Apparently the batter leaned into it. And will be argued in the meantime.
Fourth inning, Cartersville 9, Gainesville 3.
And it looks like that call will stand. And I also thought... that might have been out number 2. But regardless, it seems that that call will stand. We'll go to the top of the 5th. Big shout out to Daniel with the Atlanta Astros for the fill-in information there, who's helping us out as a PA announcer today, alongside our wonderful commissioner. Again, it's been a long day so far, and we still got another game left to go. But big shout out to Commissioner Jake Greer as well. As it seems like we'll continue on here at Reinhardt. Call will be argued to no avail, as we'll come back to the top of the 5th in just a second. A new inning dawns here, top of the 5th, past the halfway point, and then some of this 7-inning top side of a doubleheader here at Reinhardt University. Gainesville all of a sudden turns a 9-0 struggle bus into a 9-3 glimpse of hope. As we'll see Cartersville return with the lineup that has been unstoppable thus far today. That'll be Jaden Walton in the 8th spot for this Cartersville lineup. And our mystery pitcher saga will continue as we still look for the man in sunglasses to keep Gainesville out of any big gaps or big holes trying to dig out of. Follow-up pitch after the first ball will find the zone for strike 1 here in the top of the 5th. Again, for any quick refreshers on the lineup, now that we actually have the lineup cards working, as you can see, Cartersville looking down at the bottom there with Walton, the right fielder. We'll watch strike 2 catch the inside of the zone, and looking at Bullinger and Parker to come up to the plate next, as we look to return to the top of their lineup if you are a Cartersville fan. Like many seem to be here at Reinhardt today. Pretty decent turnout for a change in home venue. Very big difference from where this game was supposed to be played at Georgia Gwinnett College. Another wonderful field. Try to duck that third strike, but zone does not change. So we'll be strike 3, and how about that start for our mystery man? And as we just mentioned, Cameron Bullinger, the first baseman, will make his way up to the plate now. As you can obviously tell, Bullinger, one of the taller members on the roster, 6'3" there at the plate. Representing Reinhardt University right here on his home field. Righty on righty, first pitch. High over the head of even some of the tallest players on the field, including Bullinger right in front of us. Gainesville have to be happy, though. I mean, even with the pitching change, you only give up a few extra runs after a nightmarish bases loaded scenario over and over again. And though it'll replay in the heads for Gainesville fans for at least a little longer, you will take a new pitcher who seems to be on the right track, but down in the count for now. That one absolutely crushed out towards left field. The tall Reinhardt wall stands no match, and that one is fed to the trees. Absolute tank from Cameron Bullinger.
Home run for Cartersville, number 23, Cameron Bullinger.
6'3", the Reinhardt University sophomore. We talked about being comfortable at your home stadium, but not absolutely destruction. Going nuclear over the left field wall.
The second baseman, Daniel Parker.
Well, I make this reference multiple times. There's a lot in this game that's not on anyone's bingo card for a baseball game, but I think a solo home run is a more achievable feat, and especially at the bottom of the lineup, you will take it. If you're Cartersville, you'll get to the official bottom of the lineup now with Daniel Parker as a second baseman. We'll watch that ball once again, high and over the head. Man, I will say this for our wonderful viewers. I do apologize that the internet is bugging, but we are recording, so we got that home run in 4K, and it's absolute beauty. We'll be replaying that one throughout the rest of the week for sure. Next pitch. A beauty in its own right. We'll find the inside for strike 1. Daniel Parker looking to get a little bit more comfortable in this game, has been one of the quieter bats in this one. Going over to Dawson Vaughn will be immediately fielded and flung over. And we'll be out number 2 for our mystery man on the mound.
Shortstop, number 42. Left fielder, number 27, Michael Zito.
We return to the top of the Cartersville lineup. Once again, Michael Zito returns. The junior from Rice, one of the more veteran figures, has had a great showing after especially Cameron Bullinger will smack one out of the park for double digits for the Cannons. Pitch delivered, another attempt high, but the breaking ball remains high, and Won't fall enough. Will be ball 1. However, outside of the solo home run, it's been a pretty good inning for our pitcher. However, 2 outs, a lot could still happen. Next pitch, another breaking ball attempted, but is released too high. Brings the count to 2-0. Zito, pretty similar frame to Bullinger. Instead of 6'3", you're looking at 6'2". Instead of 200, you're looking at 195. But those small differences, it's a game of inches here at Reinhardt. And finally, our mystery pitcher will find the bounds of the strike zone there for the first one on the count. Still looking to keep Gainesville in this game. And even though you do allow the run, we're not in mercy rule territory by any means. In fact, we are very much looking at the full 7 here in Game 1, now that brings the count to 2-2. Looking to get out on the bottom of the 5th here. Next pitch delivered in towards Zito. That one, an absolute strike, but into the ground will keep the count at 2-2. Big change of pace, though, compared to the last few breaking balls that have been attempted. Like to see a little more variety in the bag of these Gainesville pitchers. There are plenty of pitchers on all of the SBL rosters. It's one of the points we talk about on broadcast, even across the other teams as well. Many teams are pitcher-dominated. And Gainesville have brought in a lot of new names on top of the guys we thought we were going to see as well, including an inside pitch from, once again, the pitcher who we are desperately trying to figure out who that may be, but unfortunately it seems like he might remain a mystery. But fortunately, having a pretty good showcase in this inning. Again, just trying to get out of this one alive here after allowing the solo home run to Cameron Bullinger. We'll come back with a 2-2 count. All over again. One more delivery. That one off the bat and into the catcher's mitt. And that right there will count as out number 3. So we will go to the bottom of the 5th. Still a daunting hill to climb if you're Gainesville, but you'll look for gold and honestly a little bit of a miracle in the bottom of the 5th. Clouds will make their way over towards the Reinhardt Eagles field and will darken the field for just a little bit as the Diamond welcomes Jock Walker at the bottom of the Gainesville lineup. Excuse me, I was trying to make sure we're in the right place. Also, we see the 4th pitcher for Cartersville in Logan Grass. Logan Grass representing East Tennessee State University. Shout out the Buccaneers. We'll watch the first pitch be bounced over. And even though Gainesville's got that speed, it's not enough for the power of 2 Cartersville Cannon players making their way over to first. And how about that? First pitch, first out for Logan Grass. A little bit extra about Logan Grass as well. We'll have to look more into his run at East Tennessee State, but he is an Alatoona High School product, also a product of Ackworth, Georgia. In the meantime, we will return to the top of the Gainesville lineup with the righty Anthony Almaroth. We'll actually look to lay a bunt as that one will rip off the bat and into the umpire, who will take a quick lap around. Caught the catcher a little awkwardly too, but Cartersville coach will check on the umpire as well real quick. Seems like everyone is A-okay. Look, I caught the hand of the umpire as well, so that one's a very tough one to catch. But we appreciate the umpire being an absolute trooper back there and not only keeping the game fair, but surviving whatever goes their way, including a pitch off the left hand. A little bit more about Logan Grass in the meantime. Grass made 5 appearances in his freshman season for the Buccaneers. Will also catch a huge swing from Almaroth to bring the count to 0-2. Also in that freshman year, played teams like Virginia Tech, App State, Miami, Ohio, struck out 6 hitters in 6 innings of work as a freshman. That one, foul ball high and away. We'll leave the count to 0-2. Also do want to mention that Grass is a junior at East Tennessee State, but not a lot that I am currently seeing from the sophomore season, so hence the pull from the freshman year. We'll also see the first ball in this count after a pretty formidable start. I will say, though, in the sophomore season that I am seeing, seems like that 16 appearances for Carson Grass. 2 games were started. 22 innings were pitched. A huge increase from the 6 innings pitch, from the freshman year. And a strikeout on the top of the count. Big swing for Almaroth. We'll now bring up Jason Williams with 2 outs on. Might as well finish reading out the stats for Mr. Logan Grass as well. In the sophomore campaign this spring, faced 109 batters, 16 strikeouts, allowed 31 hits, and again on 22 innings pitched, but also recorded 2 saves to his name. However, will catch the bat of Jason Williams, and it will be a routine play out in right field by Jaden Walton. So just like that, we are all the way through 5 at Reinhardt, and the score remains 10-3. We're 2 innings away from the end of this first half of the doubleheader. We'll return with the top of the 6th very soon.
30 minutes after the conclusion of game 1.
we go from the top of Gainesville's lineup to the top of the Cartersville lineup as Colin Yuleton will make his way back up once again to the plate after a pretty wonderful hitting performance today. Has found multiple big hits right in front of the outfielders for the Gainesville end. And will now look to do it without anybody on base for what feels like the first time in a while. Yuleton, lead off pitch will end up being ball one in the dirt. After Gainesville found their way to hold Cartersville out from a potential mercy rule, we are now guaranteed the full 7 innings of play in this doubleheader. And as you might have heard from our wonderful PR announcer, shout out Daniel with the Astros, you'll notice that we will start the second game about 30 minutes after the first game, as Yuleton will crack that one between second and short, and will put himself on first. Who's on first? Colin Yuleton. Aiden Larkin now will make his way up to shortstop, and we're having a little bit of fun up here in the booth. It's going to be a long day, so bear with me through all the puns and the jokes that we may make. The only thing I will be serious about is, again, the Wi-Fi's a little spotty out here. We do apologize for that, but we will be recording the broadcast and making sure that we upload a full version if needed, but internet seems to be good, and so is the honesty from our mystery pitcher who continues to roll for Gainesville. Keeping Yuleton honest, but throw was a little high, and even with a diving play, the dirt will actually make its way up into the face of the pitcher, and still pitching through it. Will unfortunately push that one into the dirt. Will be ball one. Again, common theme for Gainesville has been, again, allowing these first few runners to get on base, not finding an out or two to keep them honest, to really put pressure on them. So you got to be careful here if you're the Gainesville defense. You want to keep it in play. You want to potentially turn two if you can. Vaughn over to second. Second back to first. And that will be a double play for Gainesville. That was Dawson Vaughn over to Jason Williams, over to Landon Barr to call for two.
The left fielder, Matthew Haber.
Also a change in the lineup as well. That is not Aiden Larkin anymore. As Matthew Haber, it does seem, returning back into the lineup. Was a little surprised not to see Haber in the lineup originally. But I think after the long 17-16 run they had against the Aviators, makes sense that Haber was on the bench for the first part of this game. Now looking to do some damage, and will do exactly that, but it will be tracked down out in right field. That is Noah Darden. The returning Gainesville Gol'Digger will end the 6th inning in what is the quickest half inning for Gainesville, who has turned over a new leaf. But is it too little too late? We'll see when Cartersville gets a chance to strike back in a little bit. But we got Gainesville in the bottom of the 6th coming back to your screens in just a second. Here in the bottom of the sixth, we'll talk about another Forsyth County player, but not on the team that you might be thinking of. It's actually their replacement pitcher. It'll be Austin McCabe. It'll be the 5th pitcher in this game now for Cartersville, representing North Forsyth High School and now representing the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Standing at what is listed as 6'5" and has a lot of stats we'll talk about in just a quick second. But in the meantime, for Gainesville, it'll bring up number 12 in Mason Archie, excuse me. Still at the top of the lineup in the 3 spot now, as ball 1 will find its way off the dirt, or off the turf of home plate. Next pitch, low, and will also be a ball as well. Once again, Austin McCabe is the pitcher, the righty, representing the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. In his class was the number 42 right-handed pitcher in the state of Georgia, which was the class of 2024. Will find strike 1 in the meantime. Was 3-time All-Conference at North Forsyth. As a freshman, not a freshman in high school, excuse me, as a freshman at the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. 9 appearances, 2 starts, 4 strikeouts over 10 innings pitched, including 2 scoreless innings versus Central Connecticut State. So definitely some composure here. It's why you've now seen 2 straight strikes into a 2-2 count. McCabe delivers, and just like that, we will go to full. Again, a lot of speed in this section of the lineup. If Mason Archie can get on base, it only spells trouble. And once again, that one is struck down the middle. Attempted play by the shortstop. That is Aiden Larkin, who I mistakenly said was subbed out. That was Evan Holstein who got subbed out for Matthew Haber. So I want to make sure I get right.
Right fielder, Noah Darden.
Noah Darden now will make his way to the plate, trying to keep Mason Archie moving in the right direction for the team. And again, a lot of speed that's part of the lineup on one of the fastest teams in the league, so it only gets more dangerous from here. A ball does a circle around the catcher, and it will be advancement for Mason Archie. Ball 1 for Noah Darden, though, in the meantime. Quick little timeout. Austin McCabe as well was originally listed as number 26, so apologies for not having all the information ready at hand, is rocking the number 37 today, as that one will find its way into the turf again. Count, I believe now, will still remain at 2-0 unless I am counting wrong. We're about to find out here as that one is outside. And nope, we are correct. It is now 3-0 as McCabe is trying to fight back. That one will be in the dirt for ball number 4. I'll bring runners now to first and second with 0 outs. I also will, once again, for our viewers who may be watching the Atlanta Astros stream, you'll probably recognize the name Daniel, who's our wonderful PA announcer today, who's also been clutch as all get out and helping me with the information today. And there are a few scouting notes that our wonderful staff has put together, including a fastball near 90, which we may see that put to work here in just a second. We'll see what the righty has in store for us. McCabe delivers. That one will be too far inside for ball 1. Still searching for the first out here in the bottom of the 6th. Ozzie Patterson, the extra hitter, up to bat now. We'll watch that one go inside. And after 2 balls in a row. Again, Cartersville does not want to let this game get even a slight extra second or extra run close, and so it'll be immediate pitching change, actually. So we'll see who's up next for Cartersville in just a second. We'll take a very short break up here in the booth. Don't go anywhere. What's next here? Towards Devin Kendall. Sitting right here at the 6th spot in the lineup. Gainesville doesn't want to get trapped here going into the potential bottom of the 7th comeback that they're going to need to rally with. That one will go foul, and we'll put Kendall back down in the count to 1-2 now. Follow-up look to Kendall will be outside and will be a looking strike 3.
The third baseman, Dawson Vaughn.
So just like that, you bring in Tyler Fallman. He goes through 2, and there are still 2 runners on first and second who have yet to make a move to try and get their way around, and now Gainesville might potentially pay the price unless Dawson Vaughn can get a few runners moving and ideally back around to home. Pitch is delivered to Vaughn, and that one high and swung at. Again, I can't state enough how having a pitcher who was a part of the Braves scout team, what that means for a league like this and against some of the ultra-talented bats in this league. I cannot even begin to explain what that means. And Fallman trying to showcase that to everybody. What a scoop from the third baseman, and another scoop from first baseman as well. That's Michael Zito over to Jackson Stanley. Unbelievable work from the Cannons, and it is all systems go, and everyone's firing on all cylinders into the top of the 7th. 1 inning to go here, and 7 runs stand between a Cartersville victory or a Gainesville comeback. Answers in the top shortly.